Welcome to Hilary Emmanuel Ministries, where faith meets power, purity and prosperity, and breakthroughs are born. At Diadem, we equip you with bold prayers, life-transforming teachings, and spiritual strategies to overcome every challenge life throws your way. Join us as we dive into God's Word, experience His presence like never before, and walk in His purpose for our lives. If you're in London, we invite you to fellowship with us in person at Diadem, 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. Don't forget to subscribe now and let's grow in faith together.
Brethren, today we are going to do some warfare. We are going to fight some battle, and we are fighting against one of the very strategic weapons of the enemies. I'm talking to you on what I call defeating the war chest of the enemy. What is a war chest? A war chest is a reserve of fund, a reserve of armament or weapons, a reserve of anything that is specifically released or reserved in large amount to fight a war or to accomplish a purpose. It could be a sum of money used for conducting a campaign or used for business purpose. A war chest is a metaphor for any collection of tools. It could be tools, it could be weapons, it could be money, it could be manpower intended to be used in a challenging or dangerous situation. When you know that you are facing a situation that is very difficult and hard, you begin to gather the right weapon in very large number. You gather the weapons to fight that situation, to confront that situation, to deal with that situation. Those things you gather, it could be financial, it could be anything. That's what you call war chest. That's what you call war chest. And sometimes it could even be spiritual. War chest could be spiritual. It could be military. It could be knowledge. It could even be human strength put together to launch on a battle, to launch on a problem, on a situation in order to defeat it. Many children of God are fighting battles. A lot of believers are fighting battles that they are not winning. And they are not winning because of the volume of war chests that their enemies are deploying into the battle. Their enemies are deploying the volume of war chests that they are not able to cope with. I'm going to show you from the scripture that except the Lord helps, except the Lord intervenes, except the Lord does something, most times the volume of war chests that the children of darkness will deploy into a battle, believers cannot cope with it. Many children of God cannot survive it because it's overwhelming, it's intimidating. Look at the scripture, especially when it comes to spiritual war chest. Spiritual war chest. Look at Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47. Look at verse 10. Isaiah 47 verse 10. It says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness." You see, people that do wickedness as full-time job or full-time hobby, full-time practices, they derive joy and satisfaction in it. It fulfills their life. They are happy with it. You say that they trust. Before somebody can trust in anything, that person must have known that that thing is going to survive. That thing is going to sustain for a while. That thing is not going to fail. So they trust in their wickedness. And look at their boasting. Look at their boasting. Because there's so much trust in what they are doing. They said, "None seeth me." When your enemies are doing what they are doing, except the Lord opens your eyes, except the Lord gives you revelation, you don't see them. You don't know. You have no idea how far they go. You have no idea what and what they have assembled together to fight you. They say that no one sees them. And look at the response of prophecy against them. Prophecy now begin to answer them and say, "Thy wisdom and thy knowledge has perverted thee." Take note of that. I told you that sometimes war chest could even be knowledge. War chest could even be wisdom. If you are dealing with enemy that is wiser than you, if you are dealing with enemies that know more than you see that the equation is not balanced. You stand no chance. Unfortunately, many children of darkness, the wicked, they have more knowledge, they have more wisdom, more understanding, more than the children of God. So the prophecy started to address the wicked. He said, you think that your knowledge, your wisdom has perverted you, and thou hast said in thy heart, I am, and none else beside me. Do you see that? And that's why you see some of them will even come out openly and boast and hit their chest and tell you that no person can do this and no person can survive this. It's because of how much they trust in what they have gathered together to fight against you. So they say, none one else beside them. Verse 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know. So you now see that different, except God intervene, it's only God that can intervene and do this to them. Verse 12, he say, this prophecy now started to address the wicked. He say, stand now with thy enchantment. You see the volume of things they've gathered together. They have knowledge, they have wisdom, now they have enchantments also. I'm sure, apart from basic prayer, sometimes many Christians, many believers don't know anything. Even their prayer is so basic and so bare that it cannot even do so much. He said they have enchantment, and look at what follow. And with the multitude, take note of that word, multitude of thy sorceries. Not just that the sorcery just go to one herbalist and they do something. No. Multitudes, they leave it in sorcery. They've so much gone deep into sorcery that they are themselves, they are becoming sorcerers. They have now the knowledge of sorcery. They have the understanding of sorcery. They know the mysteries of sorcery. They know how to practice sorcery. They even know how to do sorcery. He said the multitude, which means they've so much gone deep into sorcery that they have multitudes of it. And you know that's what weary believers sometimes. Sometimes you start fighting and you might be thinking you are fighting just against human being, or you are fighting against spirit being, not knowing you are fighting against multitudes of sorcery that have been done in the time past and that they are still doing now. Multitudes of sorcery. Today they go to this place, they say, and go and throw this one on the ground. That's sorcery. They go tomorrow, they say, okay, go and bury this one inside the ground. That's sorcery. They say tomorrow, go and throw this one inside the water. That's sorcery. They say tomorrow, blow this one in the air. So it's a multitudes of your sorcery. Multitudes. So many that when you begin to fight against them, to clear those multitudes of sorcery takes a long time. Takes a long time. So he said they have multitudes of sorcery wherein thou hast labored from thy youth, which means they've been into this sorcery from their youth. All their labor, all the money they made, all the prosperity they had, all their wealth, everything went into sorcery. Everything they labored in sorcery from their youth. Now, I don't know how old the person dealing with you is. If that person is maybe 20 years old, from the youth, he started going to sorcery. By the time you do sorcery for 5 years, do sorcery for 10 years. If they are 30 years old, or 40, or 50, or 70, or even 80, 90, you see how many years they've spent in sorcery. And that is what you call the war chest of sorcery. Spiritual war chest. They have volumes, multitudes of sorcery that they can fall back on, that they can boast of. He said they've labored from their youth. If so, thou shalt be able to profit. If so, thou shalt be able to prevail. Verse 13. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsel. They even have advisors. They have counsels. So, not only are they into enchantment, not only are they into sorcery, not only do they have wisdom and knowledge and all those things, they even have advisor, counselors. They have different kinds of counsel. So, you can see the war chest now. The war chest that they can deploy against any person in battle. Brethren, this is what is wearying so many believers. This is what is tiring so many believers. They think, when is this battle going to finish? When is all this thing going to end? It's because the war chest deployed against them is just too much. The war chest is too much. Now let's continue. Verse 13. He said, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsel. Let now the astrologers, they even have astrologers. You see the volume of war chest. Astrologers are there. The stargazers are there. Before somebody can be a stargazer or astrologer, they have deep knowledge, deep understanding of the celestial world. They know how the movement of the stars, they know which star is which, they know the behavior of the stars, they know where the stars are heading to, they know all those things. And if they are there watching your star, monitoring your star, watching every direction your star turns to, watching everything going on in the life of your star, you see that there's trouble. There's trouble. He said that they also have what we call monthly prognosticators. These ones they just forecast the month. They forecast the month. They tell you this month is going to be like this, like this, like this, like this, and then the stargazers will begin to watch your star to see where your star will go in the scheme of the month. And if you see the volume of watches they can use to fight somebody, and he said they labor in it from their youth, you now can understand. If these monthly prognosticators are working effectively and faithfully with all their life, they labor in it. Every good thing coming in the month, they see it. Every blessing coming in the month, they see it. Every breakthrough coming in the month, they see it. And they quickly pass the message across to the sorcerers that will do what they have to do to abort it, to attack it, to destroy it. These are the operations. This is what you call solid war chest. And a lot of people cannot cope with it. Many believers don't have what it takes to cope with it. They don't have it. He said, let them stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble. Listen, at this point, before Isaiah started to prophesy all these things upon them, they have wasted so many people's life. They have wasted so many people's destiny because they started from their youth. From their youth, they've destroyed lives and destinies and a lot of opportunities. So before Isaiah now by prophecy started to address them, why was God particularly concerned about them? Because of the damage they were causing the people of God. Why did the Spirit of God bring this thing to the knowledge of Isaiah? Because of the level of destruction they were causing the children of God. And if God did not step in to address it, brethren, that's how it will continue. Do you know how many people are toiling, wake up early in the morning, come back late in the night, don't sleep in the night, come back in the morning, doing all these things day and night, and there are people that have gathered different kinds of war chests and deployed it against them, and they are just there struggling. They are just there struggling. Verse 14, he said, behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. So Isaiah was prophesying against them. He said, I'm going to bring fire. I'm going to burn all those things. So that when we begin to, that's why I told you that we have to defeat them. We have to defeat their war chest. So that when we begin to fight tonight, you know how you are going to pray. You know how you are going to destroy and attack them with fire. And know how to use all kinds of weapons to deal with them. Because their damages is just too much. Nahum chapter 3. I'm showing you now the different war chests, that darkness, that wicked, that the enemies are using against people. Nahum chapter 3, look at verse 1. He said, woe to the bloody city. It is all full of lies and robbery, and the prey departed not. The noise of a whip and the noise of the rattlings of the wheels and of the prancing horses and of the jumping chariots. The horseman, you see, they have horses, they have all these things. The horseman lifted up both the bright sword and the glittering spear. And there is a multitude of slain. You see killings everywhere. You see slaughter everywhere. And a great number of carcasses, and there is no end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses. And who is behind all these things? Who is behind all these things? Who is destroying lives like this? To the point they fill everywhere with corpses. And people are stumbling. If you are going on the street, you just hit yourself leg on a corpse. And who is behind all this? Look at verse 4. He says, because of the multitude. This is the second time the Bible is using this word. It's a multitude. What do you describe as multitude? So much large number. So that if you start to fight against it, it's difficult to deal with. Because you don't even know how many of them you can destroy. And that's what you call massive war chest. He said that the multitude of the whoredom of the well-favored harlot, the mistress of witchcraft. Brethren, the war chest of witchcraft is deadly. The war chest of witchcraft. People that witchcraft have hands in their cases. Even sorcerers, if you go to herbalists, they will tell you to go and sacrifice, to go and beg them. Because herbalists cannot even help you if witches are dealing with somebody. Herbalists cannot confront them, cannot fight against them, cannot do anything. Herbalists can only try to sacrifice and appease them. So he said that this witchcraft is not ordinary. It's a harlot to start with, and is well favored. Well favored, which means he has prospered in harlotry and prospered in witchcraft. To the point he has become even a mistress of witchcraft. And look at her operation. She selleth nations through her whoredom and families through her witchcraft. She can pounce on a family and sell all of them off. Sell a whole nation off. Sell them off. That's the nature. You can see this level of war chest. This level of war chest is not a thing that casual believers can confront. It's not a thing that casual prayers can deal with. It's not a thing that you just think, let's organize some minutes prayer and just bow our head, our Father who art in heaven, and then it will go away. This is deliberately well orchestrated and well planned, well formed. It's a well favored harlot. They are well prepared war chest. And they operate. Let me show you more. We are talking about the war chest of witchcraft. A lot of people are victims of this. Where they prepare war chest of witchcraft against somebody, you will see even witches that don't know you, they will be fighting against you. Everywhere you step into, there will be a witch there to fight you. If you go to a new place of work, there will be a witch there that will take up the job, that will be fighting you. You did not do anything to them. If you go to a neighborhood where you live, there will be witches around there watching you and monitoring you. That is a complete war chest of witchcraft. Everywhere you step into, there's an agent there. There's one of them there that is carrying up the job and the assignment. So what I will say, look at 2 Kings chapter 9. Look at verse 16. 2 Kings chapter 9 verse 16. So Jehu rode in a chariot and went to Jezreel, for Joram lay there, and Ahaziah king of Judah was come down to see Joram. And there stood a watchman on the tower in Jezreel, and he spied the company of Jehu as he came, and said, I see a company. And Joram said, take an horseman, and send to meet them, and let him say, is it peace? So there went one on horseback to meet him, and said, thus said the king, is it peace? And Jehu said, what hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. And the watchman told, saying, the messenger came to them, but he cometh not again. Then he sent out a second on horseback, which came to them, and said, thus said the king, is it peace? And Jehu answered, what hast thou to do with peace? Turn thee behind me. Verse 20, and the watchman told, saying, he came even to them, and cometh not again. And the driving is like the driving of Jehu the son of Nimshi, for he driveth furiously. And Joram said, make ready. And his chariot was made ready. And Joram king of Israel and Ahaziah king of Judah went out, each in his chariot, and they went out against Jehu, and met him in the portion of Naboth the Jezreelite. Verse 22, and it came to pass, when Joram saw Jehu, that he said, is it peace, Jehu? And he answered, so long as the whoredom of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcraft. Look at what he said her witchcraft did. He said, as long as your mother and her witchcraft are so many, they are so, that is what we call war chest. The witchcraft is not just ordinary witchcraft, minor witchcraft. You see people, you to suck their blood. No. He said the witchcraft is so many. Take note of the language of the Bible now, brethren. We have seen two places where they describe it as multitude. Now here the Bible says so many. No wonder, because of Jezebel's many witchcrafts, no wonder she was able to overrun all the prophets of God in the land. No wonder she was able to kill many of them, and the rest went into hiding. No wonder she was able to convert the whole nation to idolatry, to worship Baal. Because of what? Many witchcrafts. So she came literally and threw the witchcraft on the ground in the nation, and spread the witchcraft everywhere in the land, and made sure that her witchcraft dominated the whole country, dominated the whole nation. Every part of the country, the witchcraft touched them. Every soul in the nation, the witchcraft touched them. No wonder she was able to conquer the country. Do you see the war chest we are talking about? The witchcrafts, many. And she was able to deploy it. Look at verse 30. Look at verse 30. And when Jehu was come to Jezreel, Jezebel heard of it, because Jehu killed those two kings. And then Jehu came to Jezebel, and Jezebel heard of it, and she painted her face. Can you imagine? Somebody, they tell you they just killed your son now, your husband or your son, and then they are coming out to kill you, and all she did was to start painting. She started her witchcraft, started painting her face. She painted her face and tied her head and looked out at the window. And as Jehu entered in at the gate, she said, had Zimri peace, who slew his... She started to use enchantment and pronouncements. And he lifted up his face to the window and said, who is on my side? Who? And there looked out to him 2 or 3 eunuchs. And he said, throw her down. So they threw her down. This is how to deal with the war chest. They threw her down, and some of her blood was sprinkled on the wall and on the horses, and she threw her underfoot. And do you know that even after killing the son, after killing Jezebel, because the witchcraft has so many penetrated the whole land, do you know it did not end there? Do you know Jehu had to call a whole assembly of the whole country and say that let the worshippers of Baal come, and they all came out in their large number, and Jehu had to slaughter them. Brethren, that is how to deal with the war chest. If Jehu did not wipe them out that way, you might think you have killed the mistress. You might think you have killed Jezebel. Other people will continue the network. The network will still continue to operate because it is a solid war chest. Solid war chest. It doesn't finish so easily. It's a massive war chest. Look at Joshua chapter 11. Joshua chapter 11. Look at verse 1. And it came to pass when Jabin, king of Hazor, had heard those things, that he sent to Jobab, king of Madon, and to the king take note of this. Joshua and Israel, they were marching. They were moving on. They were coming forward. Just as believers are marching in their pilgrimage journey, going to the promised land, to the promise of God. That's how they were marching, going to possess the promise of God. And now, it came to pass. Jabin, king of Hazor, he had it. And those things that he sent to the Jobab, king of Madon, that's 2 of them now, and to the king of Shimron, that's 3 of them, and to the king of Akshaph, that's 4, and to the kings of that were on the other side, they say kings, not one, on the north of the mountain, and the plain, south of Chinnerot, and in the valley, and in the border of Dor, on the west. So he was just sending for kings everywhere. Why were they gathering these massive people? War chests. This is what we call manpower. War chest. Human beings. Human beings. Sometimes it might not be literally spiritual. They might not have witchcraft. They might not even have sorcery. But they have human beings. Human beings. Heavy war chest. Human beings that even if it is their tongue alone they put on you, all of them will be saying the same thing uniformly. Spoiling you, destroying you, castigating you, telling lies against you, saying things that are not true about you. It's all war chest. It's all form of warfare and battle. So he now started to gather all these kings together. Look at verse 3. And to the Canaanites on the east and on the west, and to the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites in the mountains, and to the Hivites under Hermon in the land of Mizpeh. And they went out. Can you imagine? Gathered literally the entire region. And they went out. They and all their hosts, all their army. This is what we call war chest. With them, much people. Take note of the language. Anywhere you see war chest operating, the Bible will still tell you multitude, much people, many. This is the language of the Bible. It's a much people, even as the sand that is upon the seashore in multitude, ready to come and fight Israel. Their calculation, their permutation is that, well, let's see how Israel can defeat all of us. That is why the enemies operate with war chest, brethren. They say, let's see how you are going to fight this battle. How many people you are going to kill. Let's see how you are going to do it. If you defeat the war chest of witchcraft, let's see whether the war chest of sorcery will not catch you. If you defeat the human war chest, let's see whether the spiritual one will not affect you. If you defeat this one, let's see whether the financial one will not work. So they gather all these things in multitude. So they went out with their whole much people, even as the sand of the sea for children, and horses and chariots, very many. Verse 5. And when all these kings were met together, they came and pitched together at the water of Merom to fight against Israel. They've gathered all their war chests to fight against Israel. Do you know that it's possible that somebody can even remove that Israel there and slot somebody's name there? And you'll be shocked that they can gather this kind of multitude. Do you know they can gather all the witches in your village to fight against you? You only be seeing only one person, maybe one person in your family. That's the only person you are seeing. But the whole village witchcraft, they are involved in the battle. The whole town witchcraft, they are involved in the battle. They've even informed all the whole sorcerers and herbalists and spiritualists, the monthly prognosticators, the stargazers, and all of them, the diviners that know how to press sand and speak to sand. They've gathered them together and told them that, look, this person is our problem. Oh. Every person must bring out the weapon you have and let's fight this battle. So they gathered all these heavy war chests to fight against Israel. To fight against Israel. Look at verse 6. Verse 6. And the Lord said unto Joshua, be not afraid because of them. Listen, if God does not step in, literally speaking, Joshua and Israel, they had no chance. They had no chance. Why do the enemies deploy so heavy war chests? It's so that they can wipe that person out immediately. So that they can overrun that person instantly. So that there will be no chance for that person to survive or to struggle. So God said, don't worry. Why did God say don't worry? Because God himself is a man of war. Because God himself has his own war chest. And brother, what we are going to cry here today is that the Lord will deploy his own war chest for us. The Lord will deploy his own war chest for us. So he said, don't wait, don't fear, don't be afraid because of them. For tomorrow about this time will I deliver them up slain before Israel. Do you see that? He didn't say, I will deliver them to Israel to fight to slay them. No, he said, I will slay them, finish, and I will hand over their dead body to you. I will deliver all of them slain before Israel. Thou shalt hold their horses. He said, when they have finished that, the only job you have to do is to cut their horses, burn their chariots with fire. That's all you have to do. But for them, don't worry for that. I will take care of that. Verse 7. So Joshua came, and all the people of war with him, against them by the waters of Merom suddenly, and they fell upon them. And the Lord, take note of that. The Lord, that same Lord is going to fight for us here today. The Lord delivered them into the hand of Israel, who smote them and chased them unto great Zidon and unto Misrephoth-Maim and unto the valley of Mizpeh eastward, and they smote them until they left them none remaining. Can you imagine? It's only God that can do this kind of a thing. That heavy war chest, Israel slaughtered all of them. And that's why I'm so confident today, brethren, that it doesn't matter the nature of the war chest our enemies have been operating with, the Lord will help us today. The Lord will destroy them for us today, and none of them will be remaining. And Joshua did unto them as the Lord bade him. He hauled their horses and burned their chariots with fire. And Joshua at that time turned back and took Hazor and smote the king thereof with the sword. For Hazor before time was the head of all those kingdoms. And they smote all the souls that were therein with the edge of the sword, utterly destroying them. There was not any left to breathe, and he burned Hazor with fire. So this is how to fight the battle against heavy war chests. Anyone that has prepared war chests against you, when the Lord begins to fight for you, you just have to begin to destroy them without mercy. You just have to begin to burn their war chests and burn everything down with fire. Burn everything down with fire. Look at 1 Samuel chapter 13. 1 Samuel 13 verse 5. It says, and the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel. 30,000 chariots. This is just like when you say 30,000 armored cars. Do you know what that means? To deploy 30,000 armored tanks or fighter jets in a battle, that is serious. At that time, 30,000 chariots alone and 6,000 horsemen. This is serious cavalry. So people as the sand which is on the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Mishmash, eastward from Beth-Aven. So you can see what you call war chest. War chest. When you come out and see the deployment and see the standing, you yourself will say, what are we going to do here today? Look at Psalm 118. Because if you have been there and God gives you the understanding of the war chest of the enemy, how the enemies operate war chest, you will have understanding. Look at how David saw it. David said in Psalm 118 in verse 10, he said, all nations compass me about. This is what we call human war chest, manpower war chest. He said they just, all nations, not one nation. He said they just surround him. They compass me about. But in the name of the Lord will I destroy them. They compass me about, yet he was just repeating it. He was just repeating it. Because on your own, when you look around, you say, well, how am I going to fight all these people? but in the name of the Lord I will destroy them. They compass me about like bees. You see, you look at human heads, they look like bees. He said they surround me like bees. They are quenched as the fire of thorn. For in the name of the Lord I will destroy them. Thou hast, he said, when they compass like that, look at verse 13. Not just that they surround you watching at you. They don't just surround you and just admiring you. Say, oh, we just came to look at you. No. He said, when they compass him about like bees, you can imagine, when that level of multitude, he said, what are they doing? They throw weapons. They throw weapons at me. What do they want to achieve? That I might fall. They want me to fall. They want me to fall. They throw weapons. They shoot all kinds of weapons just to bring me down. Just to bring me down. Their target, their agenda is clear. They just want to fire all their whole weapon. They want to they deployed all these massive war chests like bees just to make me fall. But the Lord helped me. The Lord will help us today. The Lord will help us. You know, David have experience with this. David have a King Saul will say they should surround the whole forest and make sure they catch him. Sometimes the Philistines will surround him on every side to just kill him at all costs. Look at how David described this thing in practicality, what he experienced in Psalm 18. Psalm 18 verse 3. He said, I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. David was so conscious of he had enemies. He said, the sorrows of death compass me. He said, sometimes I feel death. I begin to feel that, well, that is it. They are going to kill me now. He said, because they compass me, they surround me. He said the sorrow of death compass and the flood. Look at the Bible's language. Before we saw the Bible use multitude, use many, use much, now David said they are like flood. He said flood of what? Ungodly men. Ungodly men. This is what you call the war chest of human beings. The war chest of human beings. All of them ungodly, wicked people. Wicked people that don't have pity, no mercy, no fear of God, nothing. Ungodly men. He said that those such ungodly men, they are the kind that surrounded him. Verse 5. The sorrows of hell. He said, sometimes I begin to feel that, well, that is it. The sorrows of hell compassed me about, and snares of death prevented me. In my distress, he said, in that condition, I called upon the Lord. And that's what we are here tonight to do. Call upon the Lord. Because when the enemy deploy this nature of war chest, they have the spiritual one they have deployed. They have the human ones they have deployed. They have even sometimes the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding they have deployed. They have even the financial ones they have deployed. And when they deploy all this kind of war chest, it's only to call upon the Lord. It's only to call upon. David said that in my I was distressed. I was distressed when I saw the watchers. He said, I call upon the Lord and cry unto my God. He heard my voice out of his temple. And my cry came before him, even to his ears. And that's what we have to achieve here today. We must cry to our God and let our cry enter his ears. Then the earth shook and trembled. The foundations also of the hills moved and were shaking because he was wroth. God was angry. God doesn't like it when they deploy such level of war chest against his people. So God was angry. He was wroth. Verse 8. And there went up a smoke out of his nostril, and fire out of his mouth devoured. Coals were kindled by it. He bowed the heavens also and came down. He said the Lord came down for him. And the Father has come down for us tonight. He said, and darkness was under his feet, and he rode upon a cherub. The Lord definitely came down. Why did God have to leave heaven and come down? Because for David alone, he will not be able to handle this level of war chest. He will not be able to deal with it. God had to come and get involved, and that's what we have to cry to him to do for us today. So he said that God came down, he rode on cherub, he did fly, he did fly upon the wings of the wind. He made darkness his secret place, his pavilion round about him were dark waters and thick clouds of the sky. At the brightness that was before him, his thick clouds passed, hailstones and coals of fire. The Lord also thundered in the heavens. You see the weapons you use against thunder, fire, all kinds of things. The Lord thundered from heaven, and the highest gave his voice. He hailstones and coals of fire. Yeah, he sent out his arrows. These are the kind of thing you use to discomfit and destroy all kinds of watchers. He sent out his arrows and scattered them. And he shoot out lightnings and discomfited them. Then the channels of water were seen. So which means the water were even deployed. The waters were even part of the conspiracy. The waters were even working for them, working with them. He said when God began to attack all the whole waters, even the waters themselves were seen. The foundation of the waters were seen. And the foundation of the world were discovered at thy rebuke. O Lord, at the blast of the breath of thy nostril. He sent from above. He took me. Say God had to snatch him. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. These many waters represent too many people. Too many people. And this is what God has to do for some of us today. A lot of us, the nature of the enemies, the level of the enemy, the size of the enemies, the war chest that surround us, it's not a thing we can survive, we can cope with on our own. God just have to come and pull us out of their midst. He said, he took me, drew me out of many waters. He delivered me from my strong enemies and from them which hated me, for they were too strong for me. David did not deceive himself. David did not say, it is me, David, I have covenant. It is me, the warrior. No. He said, these watchers, they are too strong for me. I can't fight it on. I can't. No matter how warrior I am. So God just look at the whole situation and say, I can't. This now, if God did not draw David out of that place, if God did not step in and fight, if God did not discomfit and scatter those people with thunder and lightning and all kinds of things, what would David have done? David would have spent all his life in the center of those enemies and they will wear him out. Brethren, this is what is happening to many believers today. Enemies that surround them are too strong. Enemies that surround them are too many and they are wearing them out. They are wearing them out. They are not coping. They are not able to fight. They are not able to stand. Sometimes when they stand up, they knock them down. When they stand up again, they knock them down. They might not kill them, but they are not even moving forward. They are not allowing them to even lift up their head. The power of the enemy, the strength of the enemy, the watchers is just too heavy for them. That is exactly what we want to cry that God will step in for us today. That the Lord will deliver us today. 2 Kings chapter 6. 2 Kings chapter 6, look at verse 8. Then the king of Syria warred. You know, this watchers, like the language, the word say war. So watchers come out of war. It's only when there's war, when there's battle, when there's fight, that's where watchers are deployed. So the Bible said that Syria was warring against Israel, and because of that, obviously they will need watchers. They will prepare their watchers. So Syria warred against Israel and took counsel with his servants, saying, in such and such place shall be my camp. And the man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not a place, for thither the Syrians are come down. Now take note. I love this one. I love this passage. Why? Because it is now the battle of war chests. War chest against war chest. War chest against war chest. The king of Syria had war chests, human war chests, manpower war chests, military war chests. He had that one. But in Israel, the prophet of God, Elisha, had spiritual war chests. So it's a battle of war chests. Watch it now. The king of Syria will stay in his palace and plan his war, plan how they're going to fight, and then Elisha will deploy his own watchers and discover everything they plan and reveal it to the king of Israel and say, don't go there. So now look at what has happened. Verse 10. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him and warned him of, and saved himself there not once, not twice. Therefore, the heart of the king of Syria was so troubled for this thing. So you can see, watchers now clashing with watchers, spiritual watchers against manpower or human watchers. Now the spiritual watchers is winning. I told you that spiritual watchers is the most deadly one. It's the most powerful one. Because if you have even financial watchers and you have even human watchers, spiritual watchers can defeat them. So this one now was frustrating the king of Israel. So look at what he now did. So the heart of the king of Syria was so troubled for this, and he called his servant and said to them, will ye not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, None, my lord, O king, but Elisha, the prophet that is in Israel, telleth the king of Israel the words that thou speakest in thy bedchamber. He said, it is another war chest that is affecting us. Another war chest in Israel that is frustrating us. Verse 13. And he said, Go and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him. Say, okay, let's arrest him. Let's take down that war chest. You see now, brethren, do you know, brethren, that people, children of darkness, when they see that you have war chest, they will deploy all kinds of weapons and all kinds of things to see how they can bring down your war chest, to see how they can dismantle your own war chest. It's only believers that don't even bother, that don't even care, that don't even know, that don't even see that there's a war chest deployed against them, operating in different dimensions and different angles, and they don't even know how to attack those war chests to bring them down. You see, quick, the king of Syria said, I must dismantle that war chest. It's affecting my operation. It's not allowing me victory. So he wanted to defeat that spiritual war chest that was affecting him. So he said, go and spy. Don't just jump out anyhow. Spy. Spy craftily. Do we know how to spy? Do we know how to do spiritual spy? Look at it now. They do spying. They wanted to spy the man of God to see how they can take out that power, that capability. And it was told him, saying, behold, he is in Dothan. They said, we don't need to spy. He lives in Dothan. Verse 14. Therefore sent he hither horses, chariots, and great host to pick one man, just one man. Because they know that for him to have such level of capability, they know it's not going to be an easy meat to chew. They know it's not going to be just a ride over. So they prepared a heavy war chest. The war chest to see whether they throw the war chest of military upon that spiritual war chest, maybe they can conquer him. So they played a great host, and they came by night, and they now surrounded the city. They compassed the city about. Verse 15. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early, it was the servant of Elisha that woke up first. So he woke up and went out. Behold, and hosts compassed the city, both with horses and chariots. The servant saw them, he was afraid. He said, hey, they surrounded us. And the servant said, alas, my master, what are we going to do with these war chests? Look at military war chests have surrounded us. What are we going to do? Look at verse 16. And he answered and said what? Fear not. Fear not. Why was Elisha so confident? Why was he so confident like this? He said, don't fear. Don't fear. Because he knew that this is now going to be a showdown. It's going to be war chest against war chest. Let's see spiritual war chest against physical and military war chest. So he said, fear not. For they that be with us are more than they that be with them. He said, don't you know we have our own war chest? We have our own spiritual war chest. They that are with us, our own war chest is even more than them. Our own chariots is more than them. Our own horses are more than them. Our own soldiers are more than them. So we are going to see something today. You are going to see the clash of war chests today. And Elisha now prayed. In verse 17. Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open the eyes of this young man. Open his eyes so that he can see our own war chest. Open his eyes. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man. Brother, we are going to pray today. We are going to pray for our eyes. We are going to pray for our ears. We are going to pray also for our minds. So that God will open your eyes to see what is around you. So the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw, and behold, the mountain was full of horses and chariots of fire round about Elisha. You see war chest against war chest. Let's see now which one is going to conquer and defeat each other. So war chests now have come face to face. Spiritual against military. And do you know what? Of course, you know this story very well. That when they now came, Elisha now smote them with blindness. He said, like, Lord, smite them with blindness. Just that pronouncement, the whole soldier and all everything just went blind. And Elisha was the one now that held their hands and took them to the center of the city and said, come, let me go and take you to where you are coming. Took them to the center of the city. And the king of Israel, when he saw, he said, my father, should I smite them? He said, smite who? Don't smite them. I just wanted to show them that spiritual war chest is greater than military war chests. And he said, give them food, let them eat. And he gave them food that they ate and drank, and he said, let them go back. That's the end. They never came back again. Why? Because they themselves have seen the effort, the proof. They have seen the demonstration that there's watchers and there's watchers. You know, when God, this is how we should be operating, brethren. We should be operating the greatest and the all-round watchers. Not talking of only spiritual watchers. That one we should have naturally. That one we should operate naturally. Spiritual watchers. We should be on top of every situation. And thank God, some of us are operating that one. Thank God we are operating that one. Because that's why you see the enemies are not able to do anything to us. Enemies that if they touch unbeliever, they will kill them in overnight. The following morning, people will be crying there that they are dead. And we will fight with them and mess them up and disgrace them, and they cannot do anything to us. It's because of the level of watchers we operate. That is spiritual watchers. That's good. That's beautiful. But there are still other watchers that we need to operate, brethren. We need more watchers. We need financial watchers. We need financial watchers. So that it is not after operating spiritual watchers, when it comes to spending money, they begin to mess us up. They begin to insult us. So we need also financial watchers. So that when they begin to deploy money, we also will deploy money. We need also manpower watchers. We need all kinds of watchers, brethren. Because that is the world we live inside. Is a world of war and conflict. Since God created humanity upon this earth, even when they were just one family of Adam and Eve, conflict started right from that point. One killed the other one. With the world we live inside, the world of conflict. And where somebody is existing without any watchers, that person is vulnerable. That person is exposed, can be destroyed or killed. The destiny can be destroyed or sat upon forever, and it will not go anywhere. So, brethren, I want you to prepare, because we are going to prayers now. And things will shift today. Things are definitely going to shift. The Lord will arise and fight for us. He will dismantle the war chest of our enemies. And he will empower us with a brand new war chest. He will fill us with a brand new war chest. His war chest, the war chest of heaven, will fight for us today. So let's close our eyes. Let's close our eyes and begin to talk to the Lord. Begin to talk to the Lord. You see how David said it? David said he cried. He cried. And that cry entered the ears of God from heaven. And God came down in anger. Came down in anger. And that was what delivered David. He said he has scattered the enemy. He now pulled him out of their midst. So you're going to begin to cry unto the Lord now. And say, my God and my Father, I am so sorry for my sins. I am so sorry for my unrighteousness. I am so sorry for my wickedness, Lord. I'm so sorry for my foolishness, my Father. All the things I've done, oh Lord God, that will not allow you to fight for me today. That will not allow you to help me today. My God and my Father, please forgive me, Lord.
Thank you for watching. If this message blessed you, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to join our growing community of faith. You've just listened to the sermon, but there are powerful prayers that follow. Due to social media rules and guidelines, the prayers have been removed from this video. However, you can access the full prayers and more life-changing resources by visiting www.pastorhillary.org or downloading our app, Diadem Media. If you're in the London area, we'd love to have you fellowship with us in person at 4 Pegamoid Road, N18 2NG. If you have any questions about this message, want counseling from Pastor Hillary, or wish to share your testimonies following the prayers, please leave a comment below and someone from our team will get in touch. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly and guide you in all your ways. Stay victorious.